Hi kids and everyone joining us today. We're back with Bimbo and Topsy and they are up for some new adventure as usual. Let's see what they're going to do today, alright? So we're reading chapter 7, Bimbo and the Trees. Bimbo didn't like any dog except for Bobs and Topsy. He was used to them, but he couldn't bear if a visitor brought a dog he didn't know into the house. Strange dogs are horrid, said Bimbo to Topsy. I can't think how you can go and wag your tail at them as you do and sniff at them and play with them. Horrid barking things. Don't you like our barks? Asked Topsy in surprise. How funny of you. I think a bark is a fine noise. Woof, woof. Don't do that right in my ear, said Bimbo crossly. That's the only thing I don't like about you, Topsy, your horrid loud bark. Look, here's a visitor coming into the room and she's got 2 dogs, said Topsy in delight. I'll go and make friends with them at once. Poor Bimbo, he didn't have any time to rush out of the room. And so he had to jump on top of the piano and hide behind a vase of flowers. He was so afraid of strange dogs that barked. They were young and wanted to play. They pulled at their leads and tried to dance around Topsy, whose tail was wagging hard. Let them off the lead if you like, said Mistress to the visitor when she came into the room. The cats are not here, so it will be quite all right. She didn't see poor frightened Bimbo hiding behind the flowers on the piano. But as soon as those 2 dogs were off their leads, they smelt Bimbo at once and rushed joyfully to the piano. One jumped up on the stool and put his paws on the keys, for the piano was open. Tinkle, tinkle, crash went the notes on the piano. Bimbo was so scared at the noise that he leapt to the top of the old grandfather clock. The dog saw him and ran to the foot of the clock, barking madly. Woof, woof. Oh, isn't this a joke? See the cat on the clock. Woof, woof. So do you know what a grandfather clock is? It's like this really tall clock which is in a wooden box. And sometimes when it strikes 12, there's a bird that comes out and chirps. You might have seen in one of those Tom and Jerry kind of cartoons, right? They had loud barks and Bimbo was frightened, almost out of his life. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't jump down, for the barking dogs would get him. And the clock was wobbling a bit and might fall. Then what would happen? Mistress saw Bimbo. She shooed the dogs out of the room and lifted the frightened kitten down. He leapt out of the window as fast as he could. Topsy laughed at him. Fancy being frightened of little dogs like that, he woofed after him. I hate their loud barks, called back Bimbo. That's what frightens me more than anything. I hate anything with a bark. Bobs trotted up. Did I hear you say that you hate anything with a bark? He said. Well, Bimbo, beware. Do not go near the trees. Why not? Said Bimbo in great astonishment. Because every tree has a bark, said Bobs solemnly. Oh, Bobs, you're not telling me the truth, wailed Bimbo, scared. Indeed I am, said Bobs. I always tell the truth. You know that. I tell you, each of these trees you see in the garden has a bark, so beware. Will they bark at me if I go too near them or climb up to them? Asked Bimbo. They never have so far. Well, try and see, said Bobs with a grin. You can always run away if they start barking at you, can't you? Bones and biscuits, I was never frightened of those trees before, sighed poor Bimbo. Now I shan't dare to go near them. So as you know, a bark of a tree is something like, the outside of the stem and the roots, the one that's brown in color. But bark is also the sound that dogs make. So now you know where the confusion is, right? Well, let's see what happens with Bimbo. And he didn't. Every time he went into the garden, he kept close to the middle of the lawn. And Cozy was most astonished. "What's the matter with you, Bimbo?" she asked. "Why do you always keep to the middle of the grass?" "I'm afraid of the trees barking at me," said Bimbo. "You better be careful too, Cozy. If trees bark, they might as well bite." "What in the world are you talking about?" said Cozy in surprise. "No tree can bark, and certainly not bite. Anyway, I've never seen a tree with teeth." "Well, have you?" "Me neither." "Well, Bob said that trees have a bark," said Bimbo. Then Cozy stood still on the grass and laughed her whiskers shook. "Come with me and I'll show you how to treat a tree's bark," she said. "Why, Bimbo, I sharpened my claws on the bark of a tree." So, pets like cats, they usually like to have really sharp claws so that they can catch mice and rats and everything wild that runs around. So they will usually climb up something really rough like the bark of a tree, and they'll start scratching in order to make really sharp claws. So you better be careful of those claws, okay? Bimbo ran with her to the tree, though he was really afraid of it barking at him. Cozy stood up against the tree and scratched down the trunk with her claws to make them sharp. "I'm scratching the bark," she said. "See, I'm scratching the bark." "You do it too, Bimbo." So Bimbo did, and when he found that the tree didn't bark or bite, he felt so pleased. "Bob's is a storyteller," he said. "He really is." But he wasn't. He told the truth, didn't he? And Bimbo made such a mistake. Well, Bimbo is quite naughty by himself, so it's quite apparent that Bobs want to make a little fun of him. I hope you enjoyed this story.